So this is a twist on solving two-step equations. We call it solving both ways. So it means if you're given an equation with an x and a y, you can solve for either variable. So if they give you the value of x, then we'll be able to find y, or if they give me the value of y, we'll be able to find x. Okay? So here's what this would look like. We are going to use substitution and then solve. Okay, the first one says find x, so find the value of x if y is 17. And there's my equation. So I'm going to draw the line down the equal sign, and I'm going to substitute this 17 in for y. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. That's my first step. Substitute the value in where it goes, and copy everything else down. So now the variable that they want me to find is right there. It's x. So it is mixed in with the 5 and the 2. I need to get this x by itself. Remember, that is always our goal when we're solving an equation. So this is just a normal two-step equation now. Cancel adding and subtracting first. So minus 2, minus 2. Bring everything down. Cross out what cancels. Whatever I did on one side, I have to do on the other side. And then divide by 5. Again, inverse operations to cancel things out. Divide by 5 on both sides, and I get 3. So if y is 17, then I can solve for x, and x would be 3. Well, let's look at another example. Still the same equation, still y equals 5x plus 2, but now they're giving me a value for x. So I'm going to plug that in right there for the x and rewrite it. So my first step, substitution, means take the value they give me and plug it in. Now, I'm using parentheses here because I know that this means 5 times negative 4, not 5 minus 4. So a number right next to the parentheses reminds me I'm multiplying that. This is 5 times x. And then bring down my y. Well, now the variable that I'm looking for is already by itself. Okay? So I'm going to say y is already alone. It's already isolated. So that means I don't have to cancel anything out. All I have to do is work this out on the right-hand side and get an answer. So I'm just going to follow order of operations, right? PEMDAS says I multiply first. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20 plus 2. And negative 20 plus 2 would be negative 18. So I can just bring this y down. It's already alone. It's already isolated. I'm just evaluating now on this side to get my answer. So y is negative 18. And I could plug both of these back in again and check them, as you should. Okay? So I'll point out again, here the variable was mixed in. Variable mixed in. When the variable is mixed in, I'm canceling things out with SADMAP. Right? Canceling, adding, and subtracting first, multiplying and dividing next until I get the variable alone. Y is already on this side, y is already by itself, so I'm just evaluating. Let's try another one. Y equals 0.5x plus 11, and they're telling me use 2 for y. So I'm going to draw my line down. I'm going to neatly put 2 in here for y and then copy the rest of it down. So now the variable is the x. That's what I'm trying to find. It's mixed in. So I've got to cancel out the 11 and the 0.5. Well, cancel out 11 with negative 11 or minus 11. Whatever you do on one side, do on the other side. Cross out what cancels and bring everything down. 2 minus 11 is negative 9. And then I have to divide by 0.5. Cancel, cancel. So I need to come over here, if I don't know, 9 divided by 0.5 and do it. Right? Move the decimal in, move the decimal in. 5 goes into 90. Well, 5 goes into 9 once. And 5 goes into 40 8 times. So I got 18, and a negative divided by a positive is negative. So we're using everything we learned in chapter 1 and chapter 2 still. All right, so here's the same equation again, and now they're giving me a value for x. So I'm going to plug that in for the x and neatly rewrite everything. 0.5, remember to use parentheses so you don't get confused. This is multiplication. And then plus 11. Okay, well, you can come over here and do 12 times 0.5, or I know 0.5 is just half. So I am looking for half of 12, which is going to be 6. So because my variable is already by itself, I'm just working this out, getting an answer. 6 plus 11 is 17. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. They're giving me y is negative 13, so rewrite it and put that in for y. I'm going to write this like a up and down fraction. Here's my variable. Okay, and then I want you to work it out and get x by itself. But let's go ahead, before you pause, let's go ahead and set up this other one as well so you can do both of these. Okay, now same equation, but they're telling me x is 36. So neatly substitute that 36 in for the x. Again, I'm going to stack my fraction up, and I'm going to use parentheses so I don't get confused. I'm multiplying there. Now my variable is already by itself on this side, so I can just work this out, evaluate it, and see what you get. Okay, so pause now and finish solving both of these. Hit play when you're ready to check both of these examples here. Okay, so let's check this one first. I added 5 to both sides, cross out what cancels, bring everything down. Did the same thing over here and got negative 8. Now to cancel out my fraction, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. This is what we looked at in video 5. So now my 2 and my 2 and my 3 and my 3 all cancel. I got x by itself. And over here, still from video 5, negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4 times 3. Gave me negative 12. Okay, checking this one. I plugged in 36 here, so I use that same shortcut. 2/3 of 36. Well, this is 12 times 2 is 24 minus 5. So you have 2 more. Okay, I want you to do these all on your own. We'll draw the line down. You know you're going to be substituting in negative 42 for y on this side. Substitute 11 for x on this side. Work it all the way until you have a value for, let's see, this one is a value for x and a value for y. And then hit play when you're ready to check. All right, hopefully you plugged in the negative 42 for y. So here's my x, it's mixed in. I've got to cancel out this minus 2 and the negative 6. So plus 2 on both sides, bring everything down. And then divide by negative 6 on both sides. Well, this did not give me a pretty number, right? This is still going to be some sort of improper fraction. So I went off to the side and I said, okay, 40 divided by 6. Well, first of all, it's going to be positive because a negative divided by a negative is positive. It can be simplified or reduced to this, 20 over 3. And then as a mixed number, I would get that. Okay, and then the final problem, if I plug in 11 here for x, negative 6 times 11, and then minus 2. So that is video 8, solving both ways.